Welcome to season 1 of Top Crop.
We found out that the ground is alive.
Trying to get done a little quicker and trying to simplify things a little bit.
You know, there's only so much money to go around. I look for big wins. These were planted on April 25th. Some of our first planted, early maturity, just to get them going and get them off early come this harvest time. So we've made 2 passes since they've been planted. That first pass is that herbicide pass, but we also started putting AgXplore's Fast 6 product down with the herbicide and really seeing a really good response out of that. Just the beans don't go through that herbicide and be so stressed out. And then we came back at that R2, R3 time and put on another quart of Fast 6, and we also added a quart of octane along with a fungicide and insecticide. Yeah, this is the home farm here. Nice, you know, pretty flat, tiled. We've been able to feed it over the years, build up soil. So yeah, this is some of the best. I would take a lot more like this. Try to pull this water hemp. Cut.
These dicamba beans or 2,4-D beans? What
These are enlist.
Enlist beans?
Yeah.
Good. They look great.
A 2.6, 2630 specs.
Okay. And that late season octane, what that's going to do for you, it's just going to drive nutrition source to sink. So when beans go into reproductive, or when plants go into reproductive phase, they want to take nutrition out of the tissue, right, out of the leaves or in the stalk and corn, and they want to drive it into the kernel or into the pod in these soybeans, for example. So that octane, being what it is with the multiple sugar complexes, the intake technology and inception technologies help drive that and give this plant energy to drive that source to sink and fill out these pods. So it's a good complement to the Fast 6.
They look good. They look so much greener. And I don't know if the octane is attributing to some of that.
Could very much be a part of it.
They look a lot happier than past years. Obviously we're under some moisture stress right now, but
Shelby, what'd you do on your first pass?
interline pass with some clethodim, and then we added the Fast 6 in there too, a quart.
So you fed these beans throughout, right? Building this factory all the way through. Just through that architecture, vegetative stage, as the industry calls it, right?
Yeah.
And then into this late reproductive phase. Good for you. That's truly managing a crop, managing a plant, right?
And they look like it.
What I get excited about is what I call top crop. No pun intended to the show. But you know, these top clusters here, when these things fill out, these are what make me excited, because a lot of times this is where the next 5 bushel lies, right? You know, 4, 5, 6 bushel can lie in these top crops. And typically what Mother Nature's going to do too is turn hot and dry, and she's going to stress this plant out and promote ethylene glycol production inside this plant, and it's going to start aborting those pods. So if you can do anything you can to limit stress with technologies like octane and onward max, those really will help the pod retention, this pod set, and allow this plant. I mean, you're doing a lot of stuff feeding this thing, feeding that plant. So you got some real potential in these soybeans.
Good. August rains. It's a Japanese beetle.
It's what it takes.
If you're staging at R3, then I'm staging probably ahead of, I would technically call it R4.
R4 is going to be going into full pod set. So you still have a lot of pods that are setting up here. It's really late R3 is what I would typically call this. R4 is when you add pods all the way.
Okay.
And then R5 is when those pods start to change colors, right? They start to do the pod fill. So, how long ago did you spray these beans, Shelby?
Yeah, I can look on the sheet. I think in the past I was spraying too early. And we've kind of waited around a little bit, drug our feet, especially with this last chunk, to try to get him a little farther along. But maybe we're still a little bit on the early side.
You know, I'd say as an industry, Shelby, I think that we were taught, and I'm dating this back to like 15, 18 years ago, when they came out and said, hey, we need to do fungicide on soybeans and corn, right? So you remember when Russ came in, it was, well, you might be a little too young for this. Yeah, thanks for aging me, Shelby. But you know what, when Russ came in, all of a sudden we had to make another fungicide pass, and they talked about on soybeans hitting them at R3. And as an industry, we got used to doing it at R3, and I'm here to contend that I think that we pushed that a little bit too late on average. I think we need to spray that fungicide in front of stress events.
Okay.
Because fungicides obviously do more than just what control fungus, right? They help with overall plant health. But I think that an R2 application followed by that R4 to 4.5 to R5 application, I think it's the best way to manage beans if you're really pushing beans. I'm one now that most of my fungicide goes on at R2.
Okay.
Right? And then if disease is still present, comes that late season application, I'll put a generic.
In the past 3 years, we're 365 GDUs behind schedule. So that is one of our concerns here. If we don't have solar, we don't have GDUs, we don't have photosynthesis, we don't have energy into that plant. So that's where, when you guys approached about Architect and being able to add that on at that V5 time frame, I was really excited for it. Definitely looks like it's doing its job here. I'm excited to take it to yield and see if we can't get it on every acre next year.
Farmers deserve a nitrogen that works as hard as they do, one that stays with the crop until the job is done. It's time to turn to a better nitrogen with Pivot Bio.
Hey there, Dan Lipkus from Top Crop. I talked a little bit earlier in the season about we were going to do some double cropping. So we've done it. I had a couple hundred acres of wheat. We put about 100 acres of corn in behind wheat and 100 acres of soybeans. In our area, soybeans are even really iffy. No one hardly ever does it. I'm throwing the dice and trying it. Corn is unheard of. It's like, what are you, nuts? But we did it anyway. So I planted kind of a short season. This has been planted 30 days ago. Planted 30 days ago. And you can see, we've got pretty good height on this stuff. There's 100 acres of this. My goal is silage, right? We've got cattle. So if we can get it to ear and get some silage off it, and 100 acres is gonna make a bunch of silage, right? But look, isn't that amazing at 30 days from planting, you can have this kind of size out of a corn plant. So we've got most of August, and actually today as we're filming this, it's August 10th. We've got a lot of August, September, usually our first frost is somewhere around October 10th, and if we get by that one, if it doesn't frost, that full moon you might say, then we probably will go several more weeks. So if we do that, this should have ears. I'm gonna try to combine all this. I don't know if it'll happen or not, but I'm sure gonna try. Everybody else, there's no way in heck, but we'll see. For sure it's gonna make silage, even if it doesn't ear. This is really, really, really poor ground. There's no irrigation to it. We did get some rain after we planted. It's gotta keep raining, right? Otherwise we're not gonna get much out of it, but it's got a good start. It actually looks a little better than some of our corn did at this size, because we were in a horrible drought this year, when the corn was this size on the rest of the crop. Never tried this before. No one around here has, so I'm pretty excited to see how we get along with it. It's just non-GMO. We used a fairly cheap seed, so I'm not out a whole bunch of money. It didn't cost too much to put it in. We gave her a little shot of nitrogen, and we're off to the races. On this, we planted it around 30,000. Silage corn, lots of times, you jack your populations up some to get more plants, but this is horrible ground. It's very, very sandy. So I thought, well, we're kind of middle of the road, Normally, if it's cropped and it's horribly sandy, we're going to be down in that 20 to 24,000, just to try to get a crop off of it. But with this being it's going to be silage corn, we planted at 30. It was horribly dry when we planted it. I planted it 3 inches deep, hoping it would all come up. But this came up in 3.5 days. Planted at 3 inches. I mean, that stuff was smoking when it come out of the ground. It came through the ground and fireworks were going off. I'm exaggerating. But I mean, it came out of the ground hot, and it's been growing ever since. So we'll see what happens. Let me, I'll just break one of these off. We'll keep watching to see how it looks, but that's a decent girth for, for the stage of the corn, right? So I left I left, I think I took 2 off, V2, V3, V4, V5, full collar, V6. We've not hit V7 yet. So let's say this is V6 corn. So V6 corn from planting date in 30 days. Is that impossible? Apparently not. Keep watching.
Farmers deserve a nitrogen that works as hard as they do, one that stays with the crop until the job is done. It's time to turn to a better nitrogen with Pivot Bio.
Fungicide we're using is Veltima, because our 3rd year with it. It's been working great. There has been some tar spot already spotted in northern Ohio. Normally we've already flown all this corn, but we was able to wait until July 26th today. It's already past blister stage, starting to fill out already. Clearly we've been able to keep disease pressure away, and Veltima should protect us all the way through the rest of the season.
Little fun fact for you. When soybeans get in situations like this where it's too hot, what they do is they tend to flip over and they start bringing the backside of the leaf out, right? So what you'll find a lot of, and I noticed, I don't know if it's when we first walked in here, if that was some chemical burn, but I noticed some brown on the leaf. What it'll do is it'll give sun scald, because the back side of this leaf is a thinner cuticle than the top side, and that sun scald will burn through that and it'll show it on the other side, the main side, right? It's got the waxier cuticle. So, fun little fact. And you know, when you think about that translocation process late in season, when you've got an opportunity to go a shorter distance, you're probably gonna be more efficient with it.
That makes sense.
So I love seeing beans like this.
They just don't grow tall like in Corey's area, so I could try all I want, but I mean, this decently tall, don't you think?
Do you have any SDS issues?
We normally don't see too much. Is that what that is?
When you see this, when it'll turn chlorotic and then necrotic on the inside, a lot of times that's a telltale sign of SDS, which moves with tillage. So it's actually one of the prettiest diseases I've ever seen, if you can actually find it. Yeah. So if you can dig it up and find it on the root system, it's a neon blue fungus. Okay. And it's detrimental to yield. I mean, obviously I just picked this off of one plant, so I'm not going to sit here and say that you got an SDS issue by any means, but it is a pretty disease if you can actually see it.
I didn't know that blue.
Yeah, it's neon blue. It's like the blue on your bag.
Learned that in diseases, but forgot about that. Huh.
Yep. I'll have to dig one up next time I see it. Well, it'll have a lesion alongside the main root, the trunk of the root underneath the ground, and you'll be able to find it. It's neon blue. I don't see anything in here that makes me panic, Shelby. These beans actually look really good. Yeah, I love seeing this, like this cluster right here. I mean, look at this dude, just stacked.
Yeah.
Stacked and branched. That's great.
Not a lot of 4-beaners.
I like short beans, they're easier to walk in.
Not a lot of 4-beaners. A lot of 3s.
Shelby, do you see a difference in your genetics from the 3s and 4 beans?
Not that I've noticed.
Is it more weather dependent for you?
I would say more weather dependent.
Yeah, that's what I see too. Let's go look at corn.
Yeah.
I want to see corn.
Maybe we'll go look at field we're gonna fly, because then if there's any goodies, maybe we could add. Because right now the plan's just Veltima.
It prevents these skips. And like on corn, it's not as visual because you got to go digging and looking for what you've got going on. So as you see these skips that are in here, these kernels that did not make it, that did not get pollinated, just little bitty skips. But overall, this is a great looking ear. And we're at 18 around and 44 long at 34,000 population.
This is 28.
28.
This is a monster flex.
A flex ear. Excellent. And you get 2 ears consistently. This one's 16 around. So the second ear, okay, you can see that this one's 18 by 44. I didn't count the length on this one, but this one is 16 around. If this plant carries both of these ears, even at 28,000, you've got a good yield out here. So this is the field your drone crashed in, huh?
So the question is, do I fly the last half I mean, we're not at total brown silk.
No, you still have opportunity to put fungicide and onward max on this. It'll help, onward max will help preserve this second year.
Okay.
And then for any pollinating yet to do, it'll help bring back these aborted, help fulfill these that are skips currently.
Okay.
Rootworm beetle, flying up.
There's quite a few.
Yeah.
I better put some insecticide on too.
Yeah. What are you running for insecticide?
Crap, probably. I don't know. What should I be running?
Oh, just a bifenthrin or Seth, you can put this on your salad. That's what they throw on salads. It's a little bit big, but you can chop it up.
It's okay.
This crop looks really good.
Mark Apel thinks this needs to be a contest field.
Yeah.
When was this one planted?
April 25th. So I got exactly like a month difference. I don't know, they both look pretty good. It's just not quite far enough along yet to really tell what we're gonna have.
No, because you can't tell kernel set as far as depth or anything like that, just quite yet.
This is Beck 6296.
In the past 3 years, we're 365 GDUs behind schedule. So that is one of our concerns here. If we don't have solar, we don't have GDUs, we don't have photosynthesis, we don't have energy into that plant. So that's where, when you guys approached about Architect and being able to add that on at that V5 time frame, I was really excited for it. Definitely looks like it's doing its job here. I'm excited to take it to yield and see if we can't get it on every acre next year.
We've really been fine-tuning our in-furrow program over the past couple of years and running some products that are really making a difference with this early season root growth. So we love our Pivot Bio, using that product #1, and then we're adding some things to not only feed that Pivot Bio, but feed the corn plant as well. So some sugar sources, a carbon source, just trying to get these little plants off to the best start we can get them.
Fungicide we're using is Veltima, because our 3rd year with it. It's been working great. There has been some tar spot already spotted in northern Ohio. Normally we've already flown all this corn, but we was able to wait until July 26th today. It's already past blister stage, starting to fill out already. Clearly we've been able to keep disease pressure away. And Veltima should protect us all the way through the rest of the season.
So I was just talking about our, double cropping the corn, right? And we showed you some of that, and I mentioned the beans. So basically the same day or a day later, we planted these soybeans here. Same thing, they're 30 days old, I guess you would say. Put them in the ground, it was really dry. Planted these about 2 inches deep. Beans here, that's about all you want to do to get them out of the ground. But they did struggle a little bit, but they came out pretty good. And as you can see, this is that twin row, that Great Plains twin row. So there's 2 rows here. These guys are off and running. I mean, look how well the beans are trying to fill that center of the row to capture all that sunlight, right? Because they know they got to make up time. So let's take this particular plant. Well, I'll take another one because I couldn't pull that one. So you can see that's the branch that's going out into that row, right? So he's growing way over there so he can get a sunlight over there. So these guys, they're putting on pretty good sized leaves already for their size. That's a V4 or 5 plant. It's coming. I'm happy with it. Well, to get these to pod and make make grain, they got a ways to go yet, but everybody's asking me already, like, you gotta bale them or chop them, let the cows eat them? I go, no, we're gonna combine them. And they go, yeah, sure you are. Well, we'll see. It's a race against time, but I'm up for a challenge and I think we can do it. We had wheat here before, had a decent crop of wheat on this ground. This was our drip irrigated ground. We still did suffer some because we had an incredibly dry June here, like second driest on record. So the wheat wasn't as good as it could have been, but still pretty good. And now we're coming back with a double crop of beans. Hopefully I can get a, I don't know, 30 bushel. I'd be ecstatic with 30 bushel. I know in the South the double croppers are after 60 or whatever, but we're where they don't double crop, where I'm told not to double crop, where I'm told it won't work to double crop, but we're trying it anyway. So we'll see how this goes, and we're going to keep showing it to you through the year, and at the end of the season I'll look good or like a dumbass, so we'll see. There's two different varieties planted here. Okay, there's a kind of a taller one and a shorter one. I think we're in the taller one right now. So I'm gonna have you guys go in here. What I want you to notice is we put on a ton of second ears on the stalk this year, which we generally, lots of times we'll put it on, it just aborts right away. And usually we have a hard time pollinating them. This year we got them pollinated, but I think they're aborting now. Problem is, I was going to give it another application, and now I'm probably not gonna, because I believe those ears are aborting. But they're this big, so it's really a shame to see them aborting now. The shorter variety, if you just back up and go up in there, more single ears. Probably the ears are going to be a little bigger. This could have been the best corn I ever grew if these second ears would have stayed and could have hung on. But the way it looks now, I'm afraid it might not meet par with the other, because it was putting energy to 2, and now, I think the other one wasn't as big as it could have been. We're at 36,000 population. Generally at that, you won't shoot seconds, but I don't know, just start looking at the stalks and you can see, there's a pretty good percentage of second ears on them that have came along a ways, but like this particular one here. But I don't believe, I'm almost certain they're aborting. They're feeling mushy. The kernels aren't coming in on them. So that's gonna be, and this ear isn't as big as a normal single would have been. So I'm kind of disappointed in what's going on in here. I thought we were really gonna have something. There's two. There's a single.
Still got one, but
I think it really could have been something, but I don't think it's gonna be now. It's pretty disappointing. We had everything right, and then it was either sunlight or, like I said, I ain't got enough out here to support it. One of the two.
if anybody's got any questions for the show, feel free to leave us a comment, and we'll try to get to everybody we can.
Fungicide we're using is Veltima, because our 3rd year with it. It's been working great. There has been some tar spot already spotted in northern Ohio. Normally we've already flown all this corn, but we was able to wait until July 26th today. It's already past blister stage, starting to fill out already. We've been able to keep disease pressure away, and Veltima should protect us all the way through the rest of the season.
Farmers deserve a nitrogen that works as hard as they do, one that stays with the crop until the job is done. It's time to turn to a better nitrogen with Pivot Bio.